So I say, Ashe to the ancestors. And I say hello to everybody that's here present with us. Baba Mosi, glad you're back. Awa, where's Kokaya? All right, well, he'll be coming soon. So anyway, we want to start with sisters. I want to first call Amy Jocks Garvey to have her drink. And I want to call Amy Ashwood to have her drink. And I want to call Drusilla Dungy. And I want to call Queen Nzinga. I want to call Nanny of the Maroons. I want to call Jean Slappy. Ruth Smith. Alma Golden. Nanny Helen Burrows. Maggie Lena Walker. Come on, y'all, help me out. Women.
Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman. Women. Winnie Mandela. Oh yeah, oh yes. And we want to call all those sisters that we may not remember their names who died in the Middle Passage to have their drink. Now we want to call some of the brothers because we're not a one-sided kind of family. We a whole family. So we want to call Marcus Garvey to have his drink. We want to call Edward Whitmore Blyden, Henry McNeil Turner, W.B. Du Bois, Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, Sekou Touré, Kwame Touré. Come on, help me out.
Booker T. Washington.
Yes, come on.
Fred Hampton.
Fred Hampton. All right, let's call some musicians too. Duke Ellington.
John Coltrane.
John Coltrane.
Miles Davis.
Yes, Fela.
Abby Lincoln.
Bob Marley. Abby Lincoln. Oh yes. How did we miss her earlier? Huh? Roach. Huh? Max Roach. Hugh Masekela.
Louis Armstrong.
Yes.
Duke
And let's
Ellington.
call a couple more. Come on.
Tupac Shakur.
Tupac. Oh my goodness. Tupac Shakur. And all those who we may not have called that wish to come join us, be with us, give us the strength to move forward in this here Babylonian world that we have to take back to not Wakanda, but as it was said last night, Harambee.
Yeah.
So we say, Ashe,
Ashe.
Ashe,
Ashe.
Ashe. All right, brothers and sisters, this is going to be a real interesting evening, I tell you, because I'm going to see how many people come jump up. And we've had some jump ups here downstairs later, but this is part 2 of last night. And so real quickly, I want to call 2 people up. You know, they're going to both be surprised because neither one of them was here last night. Let me switch a room, y'all. The microphones and get over here. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Mic check, 1, 2. Can you hear? Huh? No? What's up? No. Mic check, 1, 2. Oh, y'all was hearing about Blacktricity. Mic check. Mic check. Y'all was hearing about Blacktricity. Now we got some electricity, Blacktricity behind electricity. So we got some special people that we want to honor, and I want to tell y'all something real quickly about this brother. This brother goes back with me with a group called Stop America from Eating the Young.
Yeah.
And y'all saw he came in here with a box in his hand. He also works the air conditioning in this place. He works everything in there. He's an everything kind of guy. And he's also a UNIA member. And I want to call him, oh, by the way, he's a donor. This brother is one of the few people, Delani's like, Ron sent some money. He sends money into Harambee and just to donate. So anyway, Ron Clark, please come up here real quick. Ron?
I know he's donating well.
My Scorpio brother. He got 2 bad twin brothers out here, twin sons out here too. But anyway, Ron, we're not gonna put Ron on the mic. I just want to present this to you, Ron, and you got your envelope. So we really appreciate you, brother. We really do. Harambee does.
Quiet warrior.
So now you got to tune off all them FM and AM stations and listen to Harambee all the time. Now, I'm just joking. All right. So anyway, thank you, Ron.
That's DG to let him know you came through.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, he always do. He said. So y'all gonna hear from this brother later. And for y'all that don't know, that's not in Banneker City, this brother has taken his consciousness, electricity I say, and taken it to a whole nother level. And later on, he's going to talk to us about specifically what he does. He doesn't do the radio, but he does video everything. He documents it. And his group is called All Eyes on DC.
Yeah.
Brother Sam, come on up here, man. And what I appreciate, Sam, we're going to give you the mic later on so you can let people know what All Eyes on DC is all about. But what I like about this brother, he goes to Sankofa Books, and they started out, I think, over at Kamon's place. Kamon used to do some stuff with us too, Harambee, his radio station over in Southeast. But what I like about my brother here, Sam, is he brings all the young folks and older folks too into Sankofa, and they get down. And he's gonna tell you later. I'm gonna later on let you know. The media that he does is live. You come into Sankofa Books. Anyway, I could go on and on and on, but I'm gonna wait till later because he's not gonna present right now, and I'm gonna let you. So, but we appreciate the work you're doing, brother. And all our eyes, Harambee eyes, are on you. You hear what I'm saying? Because that's powerful. It's powerful. And Delaney, when you hear how he runs it, it's just impressive. Kokai, those of us in Banneker City understand. And he also is a teacher. Yo, are you still at Paul Charter School? All right, you can talk about it later, but tell everybody about what you're doing during the summer. All right, I know when you come up, you tell them about it. And I hate to do this to you, but I gotta hold you till later. And I know, you know. So now, I promised y'all last night that no, it's good. I'm talking to an ancestor right now. I want him to come in. Because see, it's so important for us to recognize that our ancestors are alive. Brother Haru Forayata told me one time, he was like, Senghor, I'm not a poet, I channel. I said, what? I channel. He told me, Zama. He said, Zama, you and Haru, you, Senghor, and Farouk, y'all come with me. We went to a club, and Haru said, I'm gonna show you what I do. They called on Haru, man, brother lit up the club. After that, they was like, they want autographs, because the brother channels. And we got a lot of people that do that kind of channeling. But we're gonna bring Nanny Helen Burroughs into vibe with y'all.
Yeah.
So maybe I gotta call Nanny. I don't know what Nanny's. I things to collard greens. And so, Ron, is that back door open? Oh, I don't know which way she might come. I don't know whether she's coming from the front door, back door, basement door. I don't know, because Nanny is something. And you're gonna see when Nanny comes in here. Bobby Mosi, look out that door and see if you see Nanny moving around. She must be out front. Yeah, check out there. But anyway, y'all, Nanny Helen Burroughs is very much alive as Marcus Garvey and so many of our ancestors are. And Matilda Love was captivated by the spirit of Nanny Helen Burroughs. So in these days and times, she does Nanny. Tomorrow is a big event for her. But I'm gonna tell you, I don't know where Nanny. You ain't see a Baba Mosi out there? You didn't, but I bet you Nanny's somewhere out there, Baba Mosi. You know, but for y'all out there in cyberspace, know that she likes to make grand entrances. She don't be playing around. She gonna tell us about some of the ancestors up there in heaven, but she gonna also tell you about Nanny. Hey, Rue, you know, at the Centennial in New York, she did Nanny and Ron Bob Simple did Marcus Garvey. Y'all can go to that New Black Learning Channel and see. Can nobody do Garvey like Ron Bob Simple? Oh, Nanny!
Oh, whoa!
Greetings all. Blessed assurance, her spirit is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine. I am an heir of salvation. I am a purchase of God, and I'm born of her spirit, and I'm washed in her love. This is her story. This is her song. I am praising her spirit all the day long. This is her story and this is her song. I'm praising her spirit all the day long. Good evening to all of you. And as I used to tell my girls, God's evening. God's evening to each of you. Thank you very much to the organizers of this event. My brother, Valani Amen, on the 14th, is that right, anniversary of Harambee Radio. Congratulations to you for holding it down all of these years. Communication of our people to our people in these times is most serious. It is indeed an extraordinary effort that you've been able to contribute to the society in this way for such a long time. And thanks to all of those who have supported you in making this happen. All of those who have contributed their time and their energy to have programming, give thanks to each of you. And Brother Senghor Baye, I know you've been very instrumental in supporting this activity, so we thank you so much for your service. So I bring you all greetings from the other side. I want you to know I just met with your dear brother Marcus Garvey this morning. We had a wonderful conversation over breakfast. Give thanks. He's a coffee drinker like I am, and we had a good old cup of coffee. But I also want to let you know that I sat with my girls this afternoon. Sister Ida B. Wells, of course, another great communicator of the times, of the greatest generation, I believe, which was my generation. My teachers, Sister Anna Julia Cooper, and Sister Mary Church Terrell. And my dear brother who contributed so much to my school, Brother Carter G. Woodson. Give thanks for him. And of course, my other dear brother who I worked quite a bit with, James Weldon Johnson, and his brother, who supported me in their efforts as well. So I had a lot of dear friends. Of course, Marty King, who I often worked with later on in life. He came on up a little early, but we're glad to have him because he's still making a difference down here as well. And so I bring you greetings from all of those who I sit with on a daily basis, because we still sit and we commune and we talk about what's happening right here. Back in my day, it was strange fruit hanging from trees. These days, it's strange fruit lying in the streets. So I want you to be aware that we know what's happening. We cry with you. But we also celebrate because we know that you are making a difference here, and it is the younger generations these days who are standing up. You know, I was a young woman when I made my first speech in 1901 in London on how the sisters are hindered from helping, how we are not able to do what we need to do to make a difference in society. You see, in my day, at the turn of the century, women, colored women, white women, all women were looked down upon. We didn't even have the right to vote. We couldn't do much of anything. But you know, I made a choice. My name is Miss Nanny Helen Burroughs. Because you know, it's hard to serve two masters. So let alone serve three. First master for me was my God. Second master was my school. So you know there was no room for a man in my life at that time. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself, if you don't mind. You know, I had a birthday the other day, May 2nd. 1879 was when I was born. So I give thanks for that. I'd be 139 years old if I was still on the planet. But we had a good celebration, and then May 10th, coming up next week, 1961, I made my transition to the heavenly realm. And here in this city, of which I came to at the mere age of 5 years old, my mama brought me here because she thought I could do a little bit better. We were living down in Culpeper, Virginia, a little town, Orange, right outside of Culpeper, which is where my mother, Jenny Poindexter Burroughs, and my father, John Burroughs, decided to launch our family. I am the daughter of former slaves, but we were good livers, as they used to say. My mother was a domestic worker. My father was an itinerant minister who traveled around, and he also did some farming work. It was not an easy life, but it was a good life. I had a little sister, and she passed at a very young age. And after that, things started to fall apart for my family, and my mother decided to bring us up here. That's us, meaning me and her. Left daddy back down there in Virginia. And I came and I lived here with my aunt. And it was here that I went to school. And I decided that I wanted to have my own school. I wanted to teach. I wanted to make a difference in the lives of young girls so they could become powerful young women. And so after I graduated from the M Street School, which is now known as the Paul Laurence Dunbar High School, and also a part of that is the Cardoza High School, that was the business end. But after I graduated, my teacher had put in my mind that you are your sister's keeper. And so it was then that I knew that I needed to go on and apply to become a teacher here in DC Public Schools. Well, in my incarnation, the last incarnation, I was a little bit browner. And so unfortunately, I could not pass that old brown paper bag test that they had for young folk to go to school at Paul Laurence Dunbar and even to be a teacher here in the DC Public School System. I was very upset, very discouraged. But I went on and I decided to take a little clerical test so I could go to work for the government. You know, I passed for flying colors, but I couldn't get a job in the government either. So I've always been a woman of God, a church woman, the Baptist church. And so I went to my former minister and I asked for a job. And I was sent up to Philadelphia where I worked for the mission for the Baptist church. Stayed there for a while and then made my way on down to Louisville, Kentucky. And my mother here in D.C. worried to death about me because I was young and unmarried. But I went to Louisville and I continued to work and serve in the offices of the church. But in that building, I saw a need of the space to be used properly. So I formed something called the Women's Industrial Club. And in that space, women met after they did their domestic service out in the world, and we would have conversations about Negro history. We learned a little bit about how to type and how to do some shorthand, and we even made brown paper bag lunches for the men who worked in the community, and we sold them for 5 cents a bag, and we made a little bit of money. And that was a nice little thing to do, but I wanted so much more. So as I looked forward to what my future would look like, I decided, you know what? I am going to move back to Washington, D.C., and I'm going to have me a school for girls. So, of course, I went to those who I depended on all as a young girl, and that was to the church, the Baptist church. And I asked them if they would support me in my efforts to open up a school, and I was told no. I was very upset about that. But do you think that stopped me? Oh, no. Because years earlier, I decided with another woman that we were going to form the Women's Convention for the National Baptist Church. And we ended up having over 1 million women. At that time, that was the largest body of black people to organize in this country, probably in this world. And I decided it was these women who I would call on. And they all helped. $1 here, a dime there. I would travel and I'd make speeches because I was a speaker. I wrote a lot. I had a newspaper column. I would get on the radio and be able to raise the money to open up a school in 1909, right at 50th and Grant Streets over in Northeast Deanwood neighborhood. So I like to tell people when I take a visit, my last name is not Avenue. My last name is Nanny Helen Burroughs. Burroughs. Avenue just happens to be the street that most people know my name by. That street borders the area where we had our school on a holy hill. 1909, we opened with 30-some girls. 1961, when I made my transition, we had educated over 2,000 girls. Girls from here in the States, in the Caribbean, and also from Africa. These women went on and made a big difference in the world, doing the things which they loved to do. Because my thought was, you need to be able to take care of yourself. You cannot look to other people to take care of you. So they were able to not only do domestic work, which I thought was very important because we do have to raise the kids and we have to take care of a home. And also domestic work in my day was how we were able to make a good living. If you could cook and you could clean, you could always find a job. But we also did other things. And it happens that the building that I owned, our school owned, housed a laundry, which did the clothing for the White House, for the Hoover White House, a dry cleaning plant, an upholstery shop, a garment making space, and my girls also knew how to make shoes. But in 1934, during the Depression,
I decided to launch a self-help project, and I donated that building to the federal government. They renovated it, and it was the first self-help project in Washington, D.C., where Negro people could go and work and make a difference during the time of the Depression. There were many things that we did as a body at the school, but also things that we did in the community as women. My dear sisters, Mary McLeod Bethune and Maggie Lena Walker, we launched the National Wage Earners Association. That association was formed so that we could ensure that women who worked domestic work were able to make a fair wage. We also had other organizations which made a big difference, because I was a club woman, and in those days, black women had clubs that made a difference throughout their communities, throughout their state, and throughout the nation. The other thing that I think I'm most proud of is our attempts to launch some legislation around the lynching that was occurring at the time. Of course, an anti-lynching bill never passed, but I spent a lot of energy and effort letting folks know on the Hill what was happening to the men and women and children in the South. I felt that was an important thing to take up and talk about frequently. There's so much more that I can say, but I do want to share with you that one of the things that I talked about as well was our need to get rid of those people who say they are race first, but are not doing race first work. There are many people out here who ascribe to a certain behavior which is not serving us as a people. And it is our job to figure out who they are and do our best to either train them up in the way they should go or dismiss them from our organizations and our surroundings. We have too much work to do to have folk tagging along who are not really about the business of making serious change. Our young people need us to continue to be race first. They can see what integration has done, and I'm not going to lie, I was an integrationist. I'm not going to say right now that I would have thought any different, because at the time, that was what we thought needed to happen. But we have truly taken it to a place where I did not expect it would go. So, some kind of way we got to rally around in our communities. We have to build neighborhoods that have people representing all walks of life. We have to lift up those who need to be lifted up and not leave them behind. We need to educate our own children and not leave it to other people. And so I give thanks for all of those who are doing that work right now and ask that you continue to do that work, because it is most important. It is most important that we continue to align ourselves with like-minded people and like-minded organizations, and that we must put God, whatever you call it, first. And when we do that, we must not necessarily ascribe to a particular religion, but we must look deep within our hearts and our souls for what the Spirit would have us to do. The Spirit would have us to love each other first before we love others. And so, that is what I leave you with today. Take heed. Honor yourselves. Honor the institutions that the people in your community are building. Support them with your dollars. And also, think about your vote. Who you cast it for, why you cast it for, and when you cast it. I was a very political person. I happened to be a Republican at the time. I don't think that would be the case today. But I do know this. We worked hard for the right to vote, and we must still work hard to keep it. Because just like people sign legislation to put things in place, they can sign legislation to take it away from you. So be mindful of what's going on now. Take heed, but know that we on the other side are thinking about you We're watching you, we're praying for you, and we know that ultimately everything that happens is in your best interest. God's got it, but you've got to have it too. We retire.
Nanny.
Yes, Mr. Banneker.
You mentioned something, love myself. Before you leave, I heard you singing, and I never knew you were a singer. Could you give us some kind of motivation around I love myself?
I think you're asking for a song that the children sing in the camp that's in this space.
Yeah.
The camp, which was created based on some of the things that I thought were valuable, and the character and the culture that I wanted to instill in young girls, and so it goes like this, and I think you know it.
Well,
I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much,
kick it.
that you can start loving me. Can y'all get this? I love myself so much that I can love you so much that in turn you can love you so much that maybe then you can start loving me. But where does it start? It starts with loving yourself. Because when you love yourself, ain't nobody gonna hurt you. Can't nobody hurt you.
That's it.
Then you're able to push that love out.
That's right.
And when people feel your love, they then have the capacity to understand what it is and possibly begin to give it back to you.
That's it.
And that's how we make this world go round.
Amen.
But we start with loving who? Ourselves.
That's it.
Ourselves individually, ourselves collectively, ourselves as a race, ourselves as a community, ourselves as institutions, ourselves as schools and organizations and clubs, ourselves as governments. Start with loving yourself first. Because when you love yourself like other people do, then maybe you can get other people within your community to begin to love themselves. And we can all work for the highest good, uplifting our people throughout time. Amen.
We love you.
Thank you so much, Nanny. Word to the wise. Banneker, one of y'all, can y'all escort Nanny back out into the realm of the y'all, you see? So, y'all, that's so important, y'all, because our ancestors are waiting and watching. And we still are too apathetic to understand the real reason why they're still alive. For real. I mean, you know, the ancient African tradition is if you call the ancestors' name, they appear. And you know, we do libation all the time. We call all the ancestors. But don't y'all know they're all around. They're in us. And don't you know some of us are even here because our ancestors decided for us to come back here. Y'all hear me? So someday we're going to be ancestors. What will they say about us?
That's right.
Oh, that was a bunch of afraid, slow, connecting, apathetic group of black folks. But guess what? Marcus Garvey said that if there is power in death, that he shall return and be the real Marcus Garvey and bring countless millions with him to fight with us against oppression. Y'all know that's real.
The whirlwind.
That's real. The whirlwind. And you know there's so many ancestors that come in the whirlwind. And that's why when Nanny was vibing with me the other day after she got off the airways of Harambee, she said, and she said it while she was on there too. She said there's so many ancestors up here and they just are vibing with each other and waiting on us to get busy. And we still looking at Black Panther and thinking it's a fantasy when in reality, we got the blacktricity to make the change. So I'm going to segue right into, because we're documenting this so that we can put it out there for all y'all to see. And I ain't mad that all of y'all ain't here live. But what's going to really make me mad if you hear this and don't apply it into some kind of practical blacktricity application. So, because Harambee is a wake-up call, y'all.
That's right.
For all y'all out there in cyberspace. And for real, our ancestors have laid the black print for us, and all we got to do is follow it. And we got the best stick-up artists in Washington, D.C., my brother Kokaya, and the African Holistic Health Association. We got the Minister of Information of the UNIA, Baba Mosi, and they not just here just to be here. They have great products. But we got all of us that's here. My dear sister, my dear brother who was a teacher and a leader. I know Nanny vibes with him all the time. Crystal, we're talking about my brother William Henry Jackson Bey.
That's right.
I would have never stayed in the UNIA if it wasn't for Jackson Bey. Many times I was ready to walk. I came into the UNIA looking for the revolution, and I didn't see it. I said, where's the revolution? And you know what the elders told me? Son, just sit there. And I used to get really frustrated because I had a lot of things I thought was going on. Kaya know we had community-based buying clubs, show saving, collective buying clubs, stop murdering, meeting the young, and shit, we was ready. Brother Kokai was working with all kinds of people like Matula Shakur and all kinds of freedom fighters, and we were just ready. Bilal, Sunni Ali, we were ready to make a move as youngins. Right. We weren't just the Black Panthers. We were actually the black resurrection of what our ancestors was kicking us to do. And here we are now in 2018. Still looking for the unification and the power to move forward. But guess what? Have no fear, because what comes around goes around. Babylon is going to fall. And as I say on Black Star Line 9 times, are we going to come out of it so it will fall? Because for real, if we come out of it, it won't have no chance to stand. That's right. We hold it up. That's right. The majority of people of the planet are people of color. That's right. And we are black folks in melanin pigmentation. We need to move, like Nanny was saying, stop complaining about the oppressor and stop him or them from oppressing us. And the way to do that is to build. Like my brother Sam, All Eyes on DC is striving to do. Every event that I've gone to that Brother Sam has, along with others, because he ain't, that's the other thing I really like about him. He's got a movement that works with him. But when I first met this brother and he told me about this All Eyes on DC, I said, let me see what's happening. I went to a couple of sessions, I was blown away. Right. Because the dialogue, the conversations, the presentations that he's gonna come tell you about that he does, I believe it's every month.
Every month, yeah.
Come on up here, Sam, and tell us what's going on with that.
I go.
Amen.
I go.
Amen.
One more time. I go.
Amen.
This is how every All Eyes on DC function usually opens, just with a call in the space to make sure that we're all in the right mind frame to receive information and to pretty much be in the right mind frame to change or to want to be the change that we can see. All Eyes on DC, as Baba Sangor said, is a live news show, but it's more than that. It's a manifestation of my rising consciousness and my yearning to always represent my race and my people in whatever I do. I'm a believer that we as a black nation, and I'm talking about black people, people of African descent, people who have race consciousness, who are understanding of the war that we all face, that we all have to use our talents. Everybody's not going to do the same thing. We as a people, we have to use our talents for the benefit of the entire race and to connect locally, nationally, and internationally. And that is pretty much what All Eyes on DC does. All Eyes on DC keeps in mind that Washington, D.C. is the center of Babylon. And as the center of Babylon, it is also the place where at one point in time, black people thrived. right? We thrived. There was black government, there was black business, there was black arts. Black institutions pretty much thrived, all right? Washington, D.C. at one point in time, up until I believe it was 2010, 2011 or so, was one of the chocolate cities.
That's right.
And as Barack Obama, the first black president of the United States, sat in that White House, all of the chocolate cities pretty much disappeared, including Washington, D.C. And when you talk about this renaissance of black people, what you saw were black gentrifiers along with white gentrifiers coming into D.C. while native Washingtonians were getting pushed out. So people weren't looking at the data. They saw black success on the peripheral, but they never looked beyond that to see what was really going on.
That's right.
And you're talking about your newscasters. You're talking about your liberal black people who sat with Obama as he bombed Libya, who sat with Obama as he deported a whole lot of people, melanated people, who sat with Obama as he perpetuated and continued a foreign policy that pretty much marginalizes people of African descent and people connected to Africa. It is no coincidence that AFRICOM expanded under Obama.
That's right.
And they used his swag, they used his gift of gab, they used his black family to pretty much keep us in the dark. And I'm using Obama as an example because I, as a young person, came up in that era. I went to a predominantly white institution. They gave me scholarship money. I went and I was pretty much just, it was a time when you're in the middle and you got one of two choices. You're trying to navigate life, and pretty much in Washington, D.C., as a native Washingtonian, I've been here one generation. My folks are from Liberia. So already, there's a lot of consciousness going on. There are a lot of choices to be made among black people, especially black people with no racial consciousness who don't understand that we're all connected. Am I African American or am I Liberian? Do I have to make that choice, right? Among white people in these predominantly white institutions. Am I going to be the black person that is afraid to be black, or am I going to be the black person that is just going to stand up for my race in whatever I do? And as a journalist, this is the question that I had to answer, and this is what All Eyes on DC came out of. 3 years ago, I made a calling to step out on my own and to present African-centered news that pretty much propagandized our struggle. Not propaganda in the sense that we're telling lies, but propaganda in the sense that we're telling truth, and we're contextualizing individual experiences to let people know that it's not just one person it's happening to. It's several people that it's happening to, and it's for a reason. Whether you know the reason or not, you have to know it. And All Eyes on DC has always been that venue where we pretty much put out the elephant that's in the room, and we present people who are out here doing the things to free our communities. Since about late 2015, we've been in Sankofa every third Friday, 8 o'clock p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. We have at least one or two guests, whatever the theme of the night is. African liberation on the continent, zoning laws in D.C., black relationships, black music. We always had somebody speaking about it.
What night was that again?
Every third Friday at Sankofa.
Every third Friday.
So this month is not going to be on the third Friday. It's actually going to be next Friday, which is the second Friday. We're doing a special edition about black love and pretty much just putting a message out there about what black love means, you know, beyond just the fluffy stuff. So we're talking about it in the context of the spirit, the financial piece, the mental health piece, and the physical piece. So we always give a platform to people in the community that are doing good things. We want to make sure that people have a shine and make sure that they know what's going on. And in addition to that, in the interest of time, there's another piece to the All Eyes on DC movement that we all need to be aware of, and it goes with the education. As a journalist, I really believe that we need to equip our young people with the skills that they need to become writers and to become critical thinkers. So this summer, I'm offering a 6-session course about writing to groups of 10 to 15 young people, and during that course they get to learn the writing process and they get to experiment and write their own story about something that they've gone through when they were young people. So as you can see, All Eyes on DC is coming here in DC with the aim of pretty much putting the news back in the hands of the people and equipping the people so that we can act independently and pretty much feed our own and continue to build a nation that will fight against the powers that want to hold us back. And this is what is called grassroots news. News straight from the people, not from corporations, not from evildoers, not from anybody who doesn't have our best interests in mind. And you best believe that we will continue to do what we do. So next week, May 11th, we'll be at Sankofa at 8 o'clock discussing Black Love. From here on out, every third Friday, various topics. I got more information for you right here. Once again, thank you for the opportunity, and happy 14th anniversary to Harambee Radio.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere yet. Sit down, man. Sit down, grab that microphone. See, here's why I was so, that's my staff, it flies sometimes. It's very important for us to reconnect with each other, collaborate, consolidate. Sam, I've reached out to him to collaborate in several ways. In fact, when we first met, he interviewed me over at the Informer. And I was so impressed with his vision, his ability. And then, whether you realize it or not, Baba Mosi just got back from Liberia. And there's going to be a lot of activity happening with that. And I say that just to segue to the fact that regardless whether you are from Liberia, from DC, from wherever you're from, you're African, you're African. This brother shows his Africanity. It's clear, all right? I mean, you heard it, right? But not only that, he's hooking it up for others. So what we want to do is to have some type of a marriage and positive building relationship with Harambee and All Eyes on DC. Delani was here in DC when he came up with this concept of Harambee. His son at that time, Brother Jay, inspired him to set Harambee up because he was getting bushwhacked when he was selling his book going around the country and having media. And he was tired of the commercials, primarily commercials that had nothing to do with us. And me and him was on WL one time. And, you know, Delani can talk and I can talk. And, you know, it was so many breaks and they just break it in the rhythm. So, you know, on Harambee, the only time you have a break is if the guest decides for a break. But my thing right quickly, and I want to say to you, and I just want to allow people to ask questions too, and then we're going to move on. But when we established this new Black Learning Channel, Delani had asked me to reach out to brothers and sisters that have information that's relevant for the world to know. Now, I know you video just about every event that you do at Sankofa, All Eyes on DC. Delani, that's some powerful footage for the new Black Learning Channel. So between today and tomorrow, I want you to interface with more than just me. Okay. I mean, you know me and Baba Kokaya, and I think you know Crystal, and I'm not sure who else you may know. You might know Haru.
I definitely want to get you on Friday night, man, live. You know, Friday nights now and
let's do it.
So that's a great start. But this brother here, Cliff, he's a media person too. I'm going to call him to the mic too. He's probably, even though he's DJing for us, but he has a media network, and he used to be on Harambee called Kuumba Report. Okay. But he's a true Pan-Africanist, and I'm going to call him to sit here with you for a moment while we can Congo. What's up, bro? While he sit here and talk to you just for a moment while we can capture all this, because I want to make sure that you interface with everybody, because he's in Tubman City. And I always used to say that's Be More Careful Town. But I live in Dumb City, DC. And I mean, when we were growing up, we were concerned about going over to Tubman City because we were afraid that the gold tooth bandits was going to get us. You know why I say that? Baltimore was famous for gold plates in their teeth. And so, but you know, that was back then. Now, it's incredible the things that are happening over there in BMO. Anyway, Cliff, come on up here, man. Come on. You're not going to just DJ for us tonight. You're not going to just be the DJ later. Come on, sit up here. Sit up here. Kuumba Report. So, school my brother on what you do with Kuumba Report.
Oh, well, first of all,
And us.
I'm pleased to meet you, brother. And I want to thank setting up Harambee Radio, Baba Senghor, for having this event here in this space, and being one of the few people who that I know on a regular basis who's actually willing to put a microphone in my hand and to allow me to talk. I'm trying not to take up too much time in this regard. But what we did for 14 years in Baltimore City, I published a small-scale newsletter. It was very small-scale because it was basically all coming out of here. And we did 44 issues over 14 years, and the idea was to attempt to not only present a lot of the issues that primarily affected people of African descent, but also some of the global issues such as 9/11 and the war in Iraq and that sort of thing, but to do them from a point of view that was a little bit different from what you saw in the regular mainstream media, because a lot of what you saw in the mainstream media left out a whole lot of important information. They never said anything in the mainstream media, for instance, about COINTELPRO. They didn't talk about a lot of the issues behind Hurricane Katrina, as I was saying earlier on. I went to a tribunal in New Orleans while I had my radio show in Harambee and got a week's worth of information that wouldn't reach the public for a couple of months, including the Danziger Bridge shooting and a whole number of other things that people probably thought were just somebody crazy making up a story until they saw it on CNN. So there's a lot of information that is out there that is kept from us. I think it was Mark Twain who said what gets us into trouble isn't stuff we don't know. It's what we know for sure that just ain't so. And it seems that there's a lot of stuff that goes out there that we just know but isn't true. And I had to stop doing the newsletter after 14 years because I ran out of money. So Baba Delani made it available for me to get on Harambee Radio, and I spent about 6 years on Harambee Radio, and a little stint in the hospital told me my plate was too full, so I had to let the show go. But among the things that I'm interested in now is trying to create a means by which we can bring a lot of these different media interests in particular together. You mentioned the Informer. I think Elder David Murphy was involved with either that effort here in D.C. or in Baltimore.
That's the Afro. You said that's the Afro, I think.
No, he wasn't. No, he was not. I think he was with either the Baltimore Informer or Washington. He was with one of those.
Baltimore, probably. The Afro, it was a combination.
Yeah.
Because over here, the Informer is done by the Rolock family.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So but at any rate, he's now publishing a paper out of Baltimore called the National Black Unity News. Okay. And so he's doing this as a collaborative effort as well with a whole lot of people up in that area. So I take a look at a paper like that, I take a look at Harambee Radio, I take a look at LIB Radio, I take a look at what you're doing with All Eyes on DC, and it would seem that the logical place for us to go from there is to develop some kind of a media collective among all of those who bring in information to our people, and then merge that media collective with other branches of the struggle, from the economic to the cultural to the revolutionary to the scientific and to the governmental relations and on and on and on, so that we can start to put together a comprehensive across-the-board approach. Because it seems too often what we do nowadays is we are attempting to do what I would consider the equivalent to be playing chess with one piece. Those of us who embrace economics think economics is the answer, and will cite Black Wall Street, but when the police and the Klan decided to bomb Black Wall Street, who was there to defend them? We talk about the Panthers and their revolutionary programs, and they had a lot of great revolutionary programs, but when the FBI and the United States government went after them in court and basically put all of them on trial at once, there weren't enough Pan-African lawyers to defend them. So the logical place to go from here would seem to be first to build some kind of functional unity in those areas where we specialize, and then to bring those groups together.
That's the game plan. I totally agree, man. That's
So I'm taking the mic from Cliff now.
Yeah,
Cliff,
I'm tired of talking now.
no, Kaumba report. You did just what I knew you were gonna do, Cliff, because I know you that well. Also represents SRDC, 6th Region Diaspora Caucus. Also PADU, the Pan-African Diaspora Union. He also will be working with the Pan-African Fellowship Movement. But I wanted to just call him out because he's gonna be the DJ to the night. And hopefully some folks are gonna be able to jump up with us. But thank you so much, my brother, for coming. I want to move to another segment. You got more footage, right? I want to move to another segment that's very important because this is going to be one of the most powerful, rocking, practical, collaborative efforts that takes place. Thank you so much, my brother. I want to call 2 other brothers up real quickly. I got to call these 2 brothers up, and I want them to both talk what they do and also have a little conversation for y'all out there in cyberspace. Baba Mosi, please come forward. Kokaya, Baba Kokaya, please come forward. And Baba Mosi, you take this mic right here. And we got the backdrop all set for you, brother. Come on, Kokaya. This your mic right here, Baba Mosi. Hey, Kokaya, come on around here. This your mic. And first, let me just say this. Brother Kokaya and I go back a ways because he was over in Southeast as a rude boy, and I was in Northwest as a rude boy. But now you're looking at some real conscious African revolutionaries that ain't afraid of nothing. Kokaya's the baddest stick-up man in D.C. because he stick up with acupuncture. Healing needles. No guns, healing needles. Baba Mosi is bad brother too. When I first met this brother, I was in his bookstore. I was in Baba Mosi's bookstore. And I think that was out in, where was that, Baba Mosi?
Langley Park?
Yeah. Pull the mic up to you.
Langley Park.
Right. So Baba Mosi today serves as not only the Minister of Information, but the President of the Woodson Banneker Jackson Bay Division 330. But he does a whole lot of other things. He's also on the Council of Elders. So I brought these 2 brothers up deliberately at the same time, because that's my elder and that's my twin. So y'all go for it. Y'all, whichever one y'all want to go first.
Well, of course, let me first congratulate Harambee Radio on their 14th anniversary. All right. This is an excellent organization. This collective of people who are bringing news, revolutionary news, excuse me, and working hard to raise the consciousness of our people. It's not strange that, we find that you have to have this kind of an organization when we're living in a society where we don't own and control our means, our economy, or I said, what about to say the means of production, going back into that sort of thing. But we don't have that kind of thing, and we constantly begging or waiting for someone largesse to help us out. And we need to come together as a people to understand where we are economically and socially. And this radio, this Harambee radio, I think is a tool that is working, or we're using to do that exact thing. Hopefully, we can reach the kind of audience that is far out. It's worldwide as it is, but we need to project it a little more outside of just being internet-wise. And that we can only do that using like the Facebook or other things. And I promise that from this day on, I'm going to start doing some more work projecting this radio on Facebook. Because I have several
shows, brother.
Listen, if I had to worry about certain things like that, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. I'm constantly being told that I talk too much about certain things that's happening worldwide. And as Brother Sam had mentioned earlier, that's the kind of stuff that, I try to project to people. Our people need to be conscious that these things are happening, especially when you mention what has happened under Obama. This sort of thing is like we're blind. And I'm saying we because somehow we are at fault because we are unable to make our people see what's happening. It's our job to really do that.
True that.
I'm trying to do that through being part of the UNIA. I'm trying to do that by going on Facebook and projecting my views. I'm trying to do that through engaging with other people and coming to events like this. Because I really and truly feel that our people needs to wake up. We need to wake up real bad. Economically, and I was just mentioning, in Liberia, I was just there, and there's a lot of potential for Liberia. As poor as it is and whatever is happening there. But again, Liberia, and I have spoken to a few Liberians around, and what it is that we're more waiting for heaven to come and save us than we are hoping that we can save ourselves. This is happening across West Africa. I was in Ghana as well, and I've seen some iconic figures, not looking like us, but looking like that figure that Donald talked about, that northern figure, that figure from the Scandinavian setting, They are worshiping this type of stuff. They're waiting for these people to come and save. I don't know how they've managed to do this to places like Ghana or Africa, but it hurts me when I see that African people on the continent, where we ought to be looking for, this traction of moving forward. And we here in North America or elsewhere, we are the ones who are going to have to do it, because, let me tell you, it's not happening there. It's sad, but it's not happening there. So Harambee Radio is our tool, or one of our tools that we have to use. And I thank you, brothers and sisters, who are working with it, and I hope that, it'll continue. Long live Harambee Radio.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Trey. You have a question for me, brother?
No, I was going to ask him for that information, but I've gotten that. I just want to say briefly, Harambee's on in 30 countries and 100 cities around the planet. And you mentioned Facebook, and a lot of people congratulated me when Facebook shut me down. We don't do no cursing, no profanity. There was a point a year or two ago where I couldn't send a message. I would get a security prompt on the screen from Facebook. Can you imagine if they would come after some folks like us that's trying to educate?
Yeah.
No profanity.
Well, some of the stuff I've been putting on, they're having warnings on them and telling people that, they have to hit some button before they can see what I'm putting on there. So, yeah, I understand that. Yes, ma'am.
Suggest the Facebook alternatives. Steemit is one that is similar to Facebook, where you get paid for hits. Yeah, you get paid for hits. And then there's Gab and Minds. Those are similar to Facebook, but they don't have the censorship kind of thing that Facebook has. They're I don't remember for sure where Gab is. Where Minds is, but I think Gab is in Iceland or somewhere in Europe. But they're much more. You're much more free to express yourself without censorship on those. So I think it's gab.ai. And Steemit, I guess you could just put in Steemit in your favorite search engine, which I hope is not Google. And the other one, Minds, I think is minds.com. But I'm thinking if we could get enough people, if we could start stuff on those platforms, or pick one of them and do something there, we can move people, give people an alternative to Facebook, because most people are not aware of the alternatives, even as Mark Zuckerberg admits that he sells your information. So.
Well, I just want to make a point that the young revolutionaries in the house, like my brother here, that Senghor has introduced to us. We at Harambee, you know, and I've advertised this, we have our own black server, so we don't have to go begging to be on anybody's program. There's no on switch that I have to hit to make Harambee come on at night. It's completely served by its own server, which is me. You know, and I pay for that right to control morning to, you know, the entire day all year long. They can't shut that down because it's not being submitted to for power, like Facebook, not Facebook. What's the big company that? Blog Talk Radio. See, Harambee, we don't have no blog talk stuff like that. There's no white nothing at Harambee, no advertisement, no nothing. So you can go to any time and search the website upside down. You won't find any connection to anything that's white. So I'm just making the point that we do in-house have the ability to bring in the young guns.
Yes, yes.
Because, you know, Senghor has kind of got me off administratively at Harambee, so I don't get to be the crazy voice that I used to be on Friday night, 9 to midnight. So my Friday night replacement, Brother Nkosi Mandara, is one of the strongest brothers on planet Earth, but he's same age I am. And I'm just looking for some other folk, like how my son came along and energized me when he was 26 years old. I had him come on one time, and everybody says, man, you can tell that's your son. You know, he's kind of a revolutionary. So I was motivated. We got the station on, and I understand Harambee is a tough act to follow in terms of, you know, you come on and you try to rile the people up, but sometimes you end up being guilty of selling so many wolf tickets that it's not nearly as, you know, as strong as it should be. So I'm waiting to dialogue with some folks that I'm not used to hearing from. Because I know I was the revolutionary, and that's how Harambee started. I wasn't pulling no punches.
So let me say this, because then we want to hear from AWA while we're recording. But we attempted a social network with Harambee. When I say that, so did Keaty. And we, for a while, had that going. But as Delani will tell you, without enough people to man it, he was turning ahead, he was getting me to kind of man it. And it kind of got a little crazy, even though people signed up. But that is the direction we need to go in, independent across the board. But we need, that's the purpose of the anniversary being done here, is so we could reach out, so Delani could connect in, because he spends time 6 days a week, evenings. He don't get to go out to programs and all like that, because he's there engineering. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not complaining about it, because that's what his calling is. But imagine if we had 5 people across the U.S. that had the capability that he has in North Carolina. Imagine if we had 10 people handling, building out social network, as you said, my sister, and then 5 other people dealing with advertisement, marketing. You understand? That's what we want to do going into the 15th year. But anyway, let's hear from AWA, because the African Holistic Health Association is critical, and you're going to hear Leko Kaya break it up for us because it's important.
Yeah, you know, sitting up here with this brother again, anytime any of us sit together and we sitting next to each other, it's a real strong vibe. You know, it's always good when warriors are sitting around each other in this process and do nothing but pump me up. In 1972, I had an opportunity to go to Gary, Indiana, where they had the founding convention of what we now know as the Black Caucus, the National Black Caucus. And I was about 18, 19, maybe 20, between 18 and 20 years of age. And I was going up there to promote, you know, natural healing processes against substance abuse. We were going to promote, you know, anti-terrorist police approaches to dealing with drug abuse. Scare tactics is what, you know, you roll up with the jump out and they just scare everybody in the community. We were going to protest methadone and then pouring a substance that was 100 times more addictive than the heroin that was on the street. We were going up there to promote re-education for individuals who were victimized by the scourge of drug addiction in our community. So at this time, again, I was 18 years of age, and 19 years of age, and I met a gentleman by the name of Dr. Matulu Shakur. When I got there, you know, some people were inside the Coliseum. You had thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and they had commandeered the stage. And I said, first of all, I like these cats because they took over the stage up there. And so I walked down to the front. Who is this? Dr. Matulu Shakur and 10 other cats standing around him in a security stance protecting him, and they had commandeered the mic. They had taken the mic and started calling everybody Uncle Toms and telling them what they need to do, and reparations, which, you know, I don't know, with the word reparations, you say that nowadays, people say, huh? What? Huh? Obama, Sam, Obama took care of that piece right there. You know, everything that's black, Obama made sure it wasn't black no more. You know, that belonged to everybody, you know, but these are the things. So I got an opportunity to meet him. The police guy came up on the stage to take the podium from him, and the security around him said, don't approach us, we'll take your gun. So I said, I really like these cats right here. I said, these are kind of cats, like Gore said, we come from it, you know, out in the hood and what have you. I grew up in a place called Vietnam in Northeast, and Simple City in Southeast, and River Terrace, where Delaney came from. We used to go across the track and rumble with them cats over there, you know, over Greenway Shopping Center. So we come from that, you know, and we know that all of this is as a result of 500 years of slavery. I'm not proud of that. But this stuff is as a result of 500 years of slavery that these things existed. So I had an opportunity to meet Matulu Shakur that day. He's only a year older than me. So he was 19, I was 18, or I was 19, he was 20, whatever it was. He was only a year older than me, and as everybody knows, he's still in jail now. And I had an opportunity to meet him. And 30 days later, we met in New Orleans, myself, him, another brother named Salahuddin out of Pittsburgh, you know, and several other progressive drug treatment programs that were African-centered drug treatment programs. And we met 30 days later down in New Orleans, and they were going out. Ron Clark from Rap Incorporated, got my man's name, was there, and several other people. And they were going out to Bourbon Street. I'm a young cat from D.C. I want to go. I ain't never been out of town. I ain't crossed the Anacostia River. You know, no, Georgetown, what's that? You know, you don't go there, the white folks. You know, but I had the flu. And Matulu said, well, let me put some needles in you. I said, well, I think you lost your mind if you think you're going to stick some needles up in me. Now, I had already seen somebody with needles when I went into drug treatment after being addicted to heroin at age 17 and a half. And I go and I see a guy getting needles. I was ready to leave the program. But 2 years later, I'm on a bed, fever, you know, coughing, chills. I mean a flu. I mean a bad, bad flu. And he convinced me to allow him to stick some needles in me, and within 5 minutes I was asleep. He started putting needles in my feet, and I'm wondering why he ain't up here. And anybody who's got treatment from me before knows that. But I'm wondering why he ain't sticking needles up in my lung. But he understood what I now understand, the channels. After 45 minutes I woke up, and I didn't have any symptoms. Y'all already know it's history. Y'all already know I do it. I've been doing it since 1978. He gave me my first book and my first box of needles, you know, and I've been doing it ever since then. So it's a blessing. I say that Dr. Matulu Shakur is the single most important person as it relates to bringing acupuncture to the black community. He's the one who's responsible for that. You know, Ron Clark had it at Rap Incorporated in the 70s, but Matulu Shakur started that program up there in New York. The Black Panther Party, Republic of New Africa, Black Liberation Army, Young Lords Party, several other white radical groups, White Lightning, and John Brown Society. These were radical white folk who supported our clinic. And they would come by and shoot up the clinic. People would leave out of the clinic. They would beat them up with bats. These are the drug addicts that were coming in getting free treatment, you know, and they beat them up with bats and stuff. And we continued on with the clinic. We fought them, there wasn't a doubt about it. One morning we went in, and we were lobbying around the country to take this protocol and teach people in the community, laymen who never did any medical work, how to put 5 points in the ear to get people straight. We have been successful in New York. The laws changed in Maryland, several other states. They were going to change the law that somebody with a high school diploma could come, sit under me for 2-3 days, and learn how to do that. We passed some laws there. So we had to get somebody else to really go at it. We were going to meet with congressmen and senators to really get them to change and work on this stuff nationally and get a roll going. Well, we had somebody who was doing that. We became under investigation. They wanted to investigate Lincoln Detox Clinic and Matulu Shakur and everything that we were doing up there because we were treating 300, 400, 500 people and they ain't, what, you know, but they wanted to shut it down. Y'all know that. Dr. Peter Bourne, who was the special advisor for the White House, came up to Lincoln to meet up there and tour the facility. Matulu talks about this on the video. And as we walked into the auditorium, we discovered our medical doctor, an MD, a medical doctor, was dead in the auditorium with a hypodermic needle in his arm. This was the MD that we had, white guy, going around lobbying for us to get this bill passed. He just happened to be the grandson of President Taft. So I say that to say that everything that we've been talking about, it don't matter. The war is still going on. So with Harambee, when that brother came with this revolutionary idea, because that's what it was, a revolutionary idea. Matulu Shakur came up with a revolutionary idea. Okay. Marcus Garvey came up with a revolutionary idea. These are revolutionary ideas. You know, Chef Farouk come up with a revolutionary idea. My brother Sam, revolutionary ideas that we're doing.
AWA.
You know, AWA, revolutionary idea. You know what I'm saying? My young brother back there, Trevante, stand up, Trevante, wave your hand. That young brother back there, come up out of the hood, just turned 18 years old, and is doing acupuncture already. You know, strong young brother. You know, so these are the kind of cats that we need to come in the community, just like they came and snatched my little crazy butt and snatched Singo's crazy butt up out of the community. You too, Delani. He acting all nice now. Delani was crazy over there in River Terrace. You know, it was crazy. So that's the whole idea, to get us back into the community to do what we need to do. And as Gordon knows, the African Holistic Health Association has been around since 1988 when we were founded back in the day. And our whole thing is to promote holistic health and healing. I've worked with Dr. Savy since 1978 when my son had cancer. He's 49, 40-something years old now. Dr. Savy was here a couple of years ago. I brought him back. And what happened, they killed him right after that, as we very well know. I worked with him up in Brooklyn, at his clinic up in Brooklyn for years. Dick Gregory, another one of our ancestors who just passed. I worked with him since 75, you know, and doing his Bohemian diet and correction connecting. He was a patient of mine also. And, you know, his work and what he did in the community was just fantabulous in terms of holistic health and healing. The reason why I'm raising these cats is because we got Malcolm X Day, Malcolm X Weekend, Malcolm X Week coming up next week, starting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We have a series of lectures, some flyers are over there, culminating with Malcolm X Day. The African Holistic Health Association, Senghor and Brother Sherry Brown and the Malcolm X Committee, you know, recruited us to work with them around the health piece. So we honored. It was an honor, and a cold honor, you know, to be a part of this program to promote health in a program like that, because health, as we always know, has been put on the back burner. Yay, Haru? Always on the back burner. People don't want to deal with health because a lot of our soldiers, everybody in this room included, you know, a lot of our soldiers are not healthy. They're not doing what they need to do. Malcolm X, Haru's going to be one of the presenters there. I'm going to be one of the presenters there. Shekim Teprahim Sar, Dr. Gerald Douglas, who is the elder in Washington, D.C., D.C.'s father of holistic medicine here in D.C. So we got some great people who are going to be presenting around health. But the connection with Harambee pulling together Malcolm X Week and Malcolm X Day has to do with the principles that Harambee pushes. The principles that Malcolm X pushes. What are those principles? That we have to make sure that the individual's spirit, their mind, their body, and their environment is secure. So when Marcus Garvey put the movement together, he didn't say, let's eat pork. He said, let's exercise, let's do what we need to do. You know what I'm saying? Let's meditate, let's pray. You know what I'm saying? Let's eat right. Let's have our own agricultural centers where we can grow our own food. Malcolm wasn't about, you know, drinking alcohol. He was like a mystic man. You know, like Peter Tosh said, I'm a mystic man. I don't drink no champagne. I don't drink pink, blue, yellow, green sodas. I don't eat them hot dogs and them hamburgers. You know, again, this is the slavery food that they put down with us. So here we have an opportunity at a Malcolm X Day program, instead of talking about racism in terms of racism, because racism is in the food industry, but we want to make a connection with racism as it relates to health. We want to make a connection with economic deprivation as it relates to health. My clients come to me and say, I can't afford to eat like that, Dr. Patterson. Now I got to educate them and tell them, well, what you going to do with the money with the pork? This is how messed up our people are. I said, well, what you going to do with the money with the pork when you stop eating that? When you stop smoking, that's $5 a pack, $10 a pack. What you going to do with that money? Oh, I never thought about it like that. This is how confused our people are, that they're not even looking at principles and combinations and processes that they are using innately with the wrong stuff. Right. They go and they search food and they look at it, they don't read the label. They just listen to what the man says. So we got to go back to the principles of healing, a holistic concept. We got to look at, you know, what Harambee means. It says, let's pull together. That's right. You know, what's the solidarity that binds that? What are the principles that bind, let's pull together? Me being a holistic practitioner, my responsibility is to ensure that everybody is healthy. So my job in the black community, along with Brother Haru and those of us who are into healing, is to make sure that everybody is taking their vitamins, drinking their water, exercising, you know, making sure that they're eating their vegetables, making sure that they stand away from the sugar and the alcohol and the cigarettes and this, and make sure they're getting their sleep and all of that. We've been conditioned over 500 years, you all, to eat the wrong foods. And it tastes good, don't get me wrong, because I still sneak a little bit. You know, so it's important for people to recognize the principles around revolution. Revolution means change. It ain't just about putting a gun in your hand and fighting. It ain't just about standing up and giving a speech on racism. You know, it's about taking care of your spirit, meditation, dealing with the traumas that you go through, and the traumas that we all have to suffer as a result of 500 years of racism. So all the problems that black folk have today is because of 500 years of slavery. This is how you always say that. You blaming everything on slavery. Well, you understand what I'm saying? All they had to do was leave us alone. We was over there eating mangoes, had 10 golds and jewelries on. We was playing marbles with diamonds. You know, wasn't no thing with it. You know, here they come over talking about we're going to make you work. Okay, give me a dough. We ain't giving you nothing. We just going to make you what? You know what I'm saying? Then we're going to rape your women. We're going to kill your babies. We're gonna, what is going on? And they did it not for a week. They did it for 500 years, family. So we got to get our reparations. Let's not be scared, family. Let's join Sam and let's go into the community. Let's get into the hood. Let's get over there with Sam and let's get into the community and let's work with everything else that we're dealing with. And Brother Shingo, thank you, Shingo. Thank you.
You know, you see, y'all, what this whole thing is based around is collaboration. We all got something to learn from each other, and that's why it was important for me to call my brothers up, because as y'all know, they understand the importance of having a vehicle like Harambee. But Harambee also understands the importance of having AWA, also understands the importance of the UNIA, and also understands the importance of All Eyes on DC. But most of all, we all got to collaborate, y'all. We got to be, see, we can't stay in our closet. We can't stay in our own individual zone. It's not enough of us for us to do that. No. And this is what Baba Mosi shared just now is profound. I went to Ghana. I mean, I fell in love with brothers and sisters in Ghana. One thing I call Ghana the Black Star State because, you know, I've been a couple of places. I've been to Senegal, you know, but what I saw in Ghana, Baba Mosi just laid it out. But it's so many expatriates there that are doing well. I don't know whether Baba Mosi got to go to prom, but I think Kim and them did. And so if you're not going to go back home, because that's important to go back and build, you can still purchase. Like Brother Haru Forahata told me, you know, we got black people trying to buy real estate in the United States when you can get real estate just like that in Africa. You can build a home just like that in Africa and you don't have to live there. You can hook up somebody in the community. So we got brothers and sisters that have retired and are living well in prom. And so, you know, a lot of people say, well, Marcus Garvey was back to Africa. Back to Africa in your spirit, in your mind. And then if we don't connect health with communications, along with economics, along with politics, we're going to miss the holistic revolution. So we can't say, well, I'm over here, Kokaya's over there, and Sam is over there and Harambee is over there. That's why we wanted to do this today. So, and then Brother Heru is videotaping this. So for those out there to check this out, we calling on y'all too.
That's right.
We need to know. I mean, if it's no more than an email acknowledging what we do, let us know that you out there. Let us know that you feel what's happening, because that's the way the relationship of communication starts. Like my sister was saying, we know, I call Renoko Mr. Facebook. But let me tell y'all why I call him Mr. Facebook. Renoko is raking bank in his independent business by using that network. Does y'all hear what I'm saying? Just showing pictures. Primarily. Pictures of us, our global African presence. And he hated Facebook years ago. But Facebook is only a vehicle that somebody else owns. Like Delani was saying, Blog Talk Radio. A lot of people's into Blog Talk Radio. I got my own radio thing. But what are you doing with the show after that? I mean, who owns that? That's key. Because down the road, Delani has it all in the tank. So anyway, I want to thank Baba Mosi and Kokaya. And even though we're in a wrap-up stage of this phase, this videoing, I want to make sure we're clear. We're going to see how things move, you know, in terms of the party. But I want to make sure everybody gets to support Kokaya and Baba Mosi, because I'm going to do that. And if anybody got any questions for either one of them before they leave, please come with it now. Or anything, because it's kind of an open discussion now.
Where do you operate your acupuncture?
Out of my home.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can get my information over there. I have some business cards over there,
Okay.
you know, and you're definitely able to come by. I'm working with a lot of different things. We, you know, have discovered a specific product that we're doing well with taking lead poison out of people in 22 days. We're working with some African moringa, some African aloe, and some minerals that are working on vision. I don't even wear my glasses anymore. I've been wearing glasses for 30 years. And we're working on getting this out because, you know, things like autism and ADD and, you know, all these other things that they say are uncurable, we know that they are. You know, Dr. Sabi and Dr. Africa and all these other folks are doing those things. So yeah, get my information. Those things are available. And we'll give two quick stories. One around Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory at one point was having some issues with his prostate. Everybody knows that. Dick was, you know, he ran into the hospital over at Georgetown. And when he went to the hospital, he had this little experimental thing, and then they wanted to keep him there. And they wanted to drug him up, and he said, nope, I'm leaving. And he broke out of the hospital against, what do you say, what's that thing?
Authority.
Against advice, against doctors' and hospital advice. And you got to sign yourself out and all this other kind of. So he breaks out and just sneaks out and goes to a hotel, and he's down for 2 days. He can't eat, he can't walk. Dr. Henderson, who you can ready to go see, called me up, and we go over and we do some acupuncture on him, and he jumps up in about an hour, and then of course wants something to eat. You know, this is what the acupuncture does for him. The next day he's at the clinic. I'm sharing this story with you because people like him, people like Marion Berg, who was a patient of mine, prior to him getting his kidney transplant. You know, we were doing acupuncture and herbs, and you know, we got him basically off a lot of that diabetic medication, then he slipped back into it. And, you know, but these are people that we work with through the years, you know, that have counseled AWA, who have given us an opportunity to work on them and participate in that process. Again, like I stated, our job is to take care of, we do the health piece. So if you got a health issue, you call us. You know, we'll come and we'll take care of you and your children and your family. The whole idea of this training that I've been doing since 1998, I've been training people in this concept. My first class, Dr. Africa was in my first class. He was just here last week, you know, one of my best friends. It was one of my first students in 1998. He already knew a lot of this stuff anyway because he's sharp like that. Yeah. You know, but we continue this process of training people because we want individuals to know this stuff for themselves, for their family, and for the immediate circle. That's what it's really about, and we do that like that.
All right, y'all, I got some, go ahead, Baba Mosi, go ahead.
Oh, well, I just wanted to say a few more words.
Oh, sure.
And that is to say that I really want to thank Harambee Radio for, from the inception, being supportive to UNIAACL.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? Yeah. And especially Division 330, you know, we appreciate the fact that this voice has been coming from Washington, D.C. And we're hoping that, well, you ought to know that Division 330 UNI is in Washington, D.C. And we operate from a place, well, no, that's not our place. We're hoping to get our own place. But we do meet at Thurgood Marshall Center, the second and fourth Sundays. And we would like to have more people coming in. Some people here, everybody here is a member of the UNIACL, but we want some more active members. That is, you pay your dues and you become an active member. And we would like to see that more. And hopefully we'll hear from you. We're on Facebook. This is Division UNIA ACL Division 330. That's our Facebook page. And we're on the internet as well. Not the internet, I mean, we have a website. And that's Division 330 as well. So check us out and become a member.
Thank you so much, brother.
Yes.
I appreciate all your love and support.
All right. Okay,
thank you so much, Baba. You can put that one back. Thank you so much, Baba Mosi. But I just want to say that in closing, there's some people that we're going to recognize that are not here. Yeah, you can just turn it off. It's so important for you all out there to know that this 14th anniversary, we decided we were going to honor and give certificates to about 54 people, and there's some that we missed, but we will come back on them because we couldn't get everybody, but we got quite a few. But let me make some of those announcements right now. Of those, some people already got them, but I'm announcing people that did not get them yet. That's ADASI, the African Diaspora Ancestral Commemoration Institute. The Pan-African Federalist Movement that's been on, and they're going to be on, by the way, Tuesday at 9 o'clock, A. Peter Bailey, myself, Brother Jume, no, I'm sorry, we're not bringing Jume on, Jume will be here, but we're bringing Amadou on and Amaseta, and that's an elder out of Florida who's a Garveyite. He's in the UNIA too. He's the leader of North America and Canada of the Pan-African Federalist Movement, and they don't like the word leader. Actually, he's a major facilitator, and Amaseta is up in Massachusetts, but he's officially a Senegalese representative, an ambassador, and he is from Senegal, and they're going to be here. There's a contingency coming from Canada. I'm making a quick announcement about that, but it's flyers here.
Did you say that would happen on Tuesday?
This Tuesday coming.
What time?
9 o'clock.
Oh, I thought I heard you say 8 o'clock. That's what it was.
Black Star, maybe I did. Black Star Line 9 times 9.
Okay.
You know, but yeah, you know, also Us Lifting Us Cooperative. For y'all that don't know what Us Lifting Us Cooperative is, they just opened a cafe in Atlanta. They want a cooperative cafe everywhere. They are serious. But guess what? My brother Akima, UNIA 421. Yeah. So I'm just showing y'all, because it's not just the UNIA as an entity. People within the UNIA have got other entities that they work with. And that's the whole purpose of Garveyism, is to connect. And it's very important. And it doesn't matter if you have ideological differences, as long as you don't fight over them. I'm saying you can still eat at the same table. So people get caught up in those ideologies. We've been through that in the 60s and 70s and 80s, you know, but like Bob Brown is my friend. People might call Bob Brown a communist, but Bob Brown is my friend. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Dr. Tilly Williams, who's a naturopath. Tilly Williams had a show on Harambee at one time. And she's my naturopath doctor, by the way. Cheryl Shoemaker. And that's Kathy, English host type friend, who is the director of the camp here. Ayo Handy Kendi. Jeanette Carson, that's my spiritual mother, by the way, Mama Jeanette Carson. Sister B. Davis Williams of the Davis Dance Center, who's recuperating from replacement in the knee. Brother Roger Glass, who's executive director of Arts for Our Children. A. Peter Bailey. That's my brother, man. I wrote with A. Peter Bailey because A. Peter Bailey is in his 80s, y'all. And he is the one that told us on the committee that during this session here, come Friday night if you just want to come for the excitement. But on Saturday at 9 a.m. to 7, it's a working meeting. Hey, Peter Bailey said, don't come. If you ain't coming to work, don't come. Right. And what he means by that is, don't bring your work. Come see the work of the Pan-African Fellowship Movement, because the Pan-African Fellowship Movement only has one objective. When many black organizations got tons of objectives because we need a lot of stuff. Our objective is a unified Africans at home and abroad together. Of course, that fits into Garveyism, that fits into Nkrumahism, that fits into quite a few things. But the fact of the matter is, we're tired of the top-down bureaucracy of black people. And if Donald Duck Trump is not an example of Babylon about to crumble because of confusion, I mean, believe me, y'all, and it ain't about him, y'all. It never was about that. You think about it. The whole electoral process in this country is a fraud.
Yes.
I mean, him and Hillary Clinton running against each other? I mean, think about that. But anyway, you know, they selected him. And if you could go back before that, they selected Obama. That's right. Brother Ackland Lynch said, hey, the reason they got, but before you get there, the Jews had a fight. The Jews in Chicago was fighting the Jews in New York. Y'all hear what I said? That's how Barack got elected. That's why Rahm Emanuel came in his administration. And then Rahm Emanuel is now in Chicago butchering, the miseducation schools are getting butchered. The health clinics are getting butchered. But y'all remember the name of Bobby Wright?
Yeah.
Bobby Wright out of Chicago was in the UNIA. Oh yeah, you know, I met Steve Coakley there too. But Bobby Wright was a killer. When I say a killer of misinformation of mind stuff. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's right. Francis Cress Welsing came out of Chicago. Tony Browder came out of Chicago. But anyway, enough said about that. I'm going to make these other announcements. C.R. Gibbs.
Yes, sir.
C.R. Gibbs. He's been on the New Black Learning Channel. Yeah. He's going to do some more stuff with us.
Look forward.
Imhotep Asafatu. If y'all don't know this brother, you got to get to know that brother. That brother, along with Baba Mosi, along with Rafiki, and along with Abner Disro on Friday the 18th, will be on a panel over at Hopkins, dealing with Malcolm. Of course, Baba Mosi will be dealing with the UNIA legacy. My brother is going to be dealing with urban philosophy. Bad brother. But Abner Disro started doing poetry through the Woodson Banneker Jackson Bay division. Did y'all know that? Oh yeah, Jackson Bay brought Abner Disro to the UNIA for programs that we had at Banneker. So I went over to Hopkins because she's the director. They growing food. They growing food in the so-called, one of the last few projects we got in DC, Kokaya. Yeah. Because a lot of the projects now are supposed to be low income. But right. I went over there, I was blown away, man. Abner's doing it. And of course, Kathy English Hope.
Oh yes.
Corcoran Hope, my stepson. And if y'all don't know Corcoran Hope, y'all will. Corcoran Hope ain't no joke. And then I ain't even gonna announce that person because Zama did that. I ain't announcing that person. That's me. I ain't announcing that person. Ivy Sade Hilton. Ivy Hilton. Melvin Deal. Tahara Hughes. Why they call it post, you know, he's an ancestor now. Hamza Sid Catlett Bay. Clyde Banks, my co-host on Black Star. And if y'all don't know Clyde Banks, well, he'll be here for this. But Clyde is also a brother that I appointed as ambassador of business development in the UNIA. But Clyde is the president of Division 429, the Kwame Nkrumah Marcus Garvey division in Chicago. And his brother is Chuck. Clyde is a very powerful brother, and he's my co-host, as Delani knows. But he'll be here with us. Brenda Dunn Clayton, Mary Bolter Herron, the Secretary General of the UNIA. Shinzara Davis Kahini, who is the St. Croix, president of the St. Croix division. Insa Nebkara, her husband. Professor David Horn, who will be here at the end of the month for this conference. Your partner in crime. Ross Marvin. A real Forai Atta. And I'm saying this so y'all know out there. Some of y'all that hear this first know we're going to send them to y'all. But, you know, Renoko Rashidi. And Ross Zaye, who in Kimbe.
Oh, yes.
Delani got a whole stack of them over there too that he's taking back of people that are on Harambee. And it's a lot of people we miss, but you know, honestly, y'all, we love everybody. But what we wanted to do with these certifications is to let you know, you are Harambee. You're Harambee. So Baba Mosi, I'm not joking, man, about you might not get your own slot, but I could easily give up Black Star Line 9 any night, and you could be the host of that show, brother. Tell them, Delani, that's how we used to roll, right?
Oh, man.
And so and Kokai, you know how we roll with AWA. See, the vibe is, we know who's doing the work in D.C., but we also know who's doing the work in other cities that use Harambee. What we want to do with Harambee in the 15th year, Brother Heru, is elevate it to another level so Delani doesn't have to do so much hard work administratively by himself. And he made a critical mistake when he appointed me to be his assistant. Because I'm going to be like a thorn in his side. Positive, though. And if you ain't right, I'm going to get Kokai on you. He going to stick you up. No, but I love Delani. I love Delani Amon. Delani Amon has made a serious sacrifice in life. For people that don't know, Delani was I told Sheikh, me and Sheikh, because Sheikh is getting ready to do some stuff on anti-capitalism that's going to blow a lot of people away. Because a lot of people don't even know what the word capitalism even means. I'm serious. A lot of us here don't even know. You know, we understand the effects of monopoly capitalism, but you got to understand how capitalism came into existence in order to go around it. That's what Sheikh is talking about. But here's the point. Delani made a lot of critical sacrifices. You really don't know how much bank that brother was making before he stopped doing the kind of work that he was doing for Dennis. And to make that kind of sacrifice, for me, is a great example. But then he went further than that. He spends evenings on the radio just doing, he ain't on the radio no, he don't even do his own show no more. And he'd be on the clock. I'm talking about on the clock. If you ain't calling in, if you ain't getting off the show on time, he'll let you know. Because he got to go from one show to the next show. Okay, Delani, come give us some closing statements, brother. And believe me, we're going to run out of what's name.
I'm going to tell y'all some little known information about me. I talked to Sister Q as we were riding around today. I wanted
Talk in the mic. It's on.
Yeah.
You can sit down too if you want.
Because, when Senghor, I hear him talking about sacrifice, one thing Senghor kind of told me when we first met, I was dating this very attractive young lady named Anissa. And we traveled all over this country doing book signings everywhere, UNIA gatherings, and everybody said, man, y'all make such a good couple, dressed Afro-centeredly. And that sister came to me at some point and said, Delani, I understand you and Senghor and UNIA, but it's starting a station. And she said, you're not home enough already. And this radio station is going to come on, 6 o'clock at night till midnight. Well, if you got a lovey-dovey like I had a lovey-dovey and you talking about 6 to midnight and she already know you ain't home, that sister gave me an ultimatum. And I was so arrogant. And the strength of my own belief was, you can't walk away from a brother like me. Now, Senghor was kind of telling me, Delani, you may not want to play with this one, man. This woman talking about it's going to be her or Harambee, and you done already kind of leaned towards starting the station. Here I go, my arrogance. What you going to do without me, woman? You know who I am? I'm Delani Amon, the book writer guy. And at that time, she knew me through dentistry. She was one of my employees before y'all saw her. She was the one answering my phones at the office. So ultimately, she kept coming into the studio as I'm getting everybody lined up to start. And she said, Delani, do you know if you start this station, you're going to be missing all of this. And she did one of them numbers on me. I was no good. After a single, all of you guys are not worth this sister. I said, y'all don't know what I'm walking away from. But I was already believing that I had enough ability that she was just talking. Running her mouth. We were still sleeping together, living together, and going out for dinner practically every other night. She would stop by the studio, and I would be in there trying to fine-tune everything. That woman walked out of my life and all my arrogance and has never called me back, not one time in 14 years. Whoa. So I had to take that moment and run with all of y'all to make Harambee to try to even something out from walking away from that woman.
I laugh now. I wouldn't laugh then, bro. You know
now, she has family members that are still Harambee, and it's the lady doctor from Baltimore that comes to the events. And she says, well, Delani, she just wanted to be married, and you wouldn't even, you know, because y'all run that thing about being in the conscious community, not being married, not following the government rules and regulations. So I'm trying to be big and bad about it. Girl, I don't need to marry you. So anyway, that's what happened to Sister Nisa. She stuck to her guns. And when she walked in and saw me, she says, you know, I'm an expert on health and nutrition. How come you didn't call me in? Well, I was too busy talking to all these other experts around the country that I kind of lost sight of where she was in life. But if I had to go back to do it all over again, I should have been a better brother to her than I was. I used whatever influence I thought I had to keep her there, and that's it. So I want to thank all of y'all for coming out. All I want to do is for Clip to put on me a song that I can dance with Sister Q over here, cut the light down a little bit, and I'm going to show y'all that I really am from D.C. and I know all about the blue lights in the basement. That's what I grew up with. So I want to make sure y'all do understand that at Harambee, I know y'all see the word and all that, but every time I think about Harambee, and I will correct folks when I hear them talking and not mention that this is not Delani's Harambee. This is not my Harambee. This has always been our Harambee. That's what it's there for, the usage of everybody. It was never intended for me. I think we put in a lot of airtime where there were stretches where we ran across a little snag at Harambee, and some of the people left. That was after year one. And we had trouble filling the airwaves because some of the people that left, they left to try to start their own stations down in other cities and all. Because, you know, and I can understand it. Y'all think about it. You hanging out with a 7th grade dropout, and he not only has proven against all odds by surviving the streets of D.C., starting Harambee. I was a good crap shooter too, could do that. Could do almost anything, hand-eye coordination. So whenever my intelligence came up, it was always mentioned in that vein that, man, you know, if Delani can do a Harambee, you know we can go somewhere. So a couple of them even got together, man, and they actually copied what you see on the Harambee site. They stole that. Now, you know, in this big world, you're not supposed to really go to somebody's website and steal their advertising design and everything. You know, we were so powerful at Harambee that we didn't even go back to tell them to take that shit down. We let them have it. And we let them know that we know you stole it. And we still, go ahead, y'all, keep on rolling. Because as Singh mentioned early in this conversation, that I was the first one telling the rest of the world that, yeah, you're right. I started at Harambee, and if a guy that hasn't been to school for that for 1 hour, you know, I will give my 26-year-old son some credit because I wouldn't have ran my mouth so much, but he said, Dad, I got you. By the time you get down to North Carolina, the station will be on and functioning. You can have all your friends, Single, and the rest of the people around the country doing Harambee. And he said, so it's not that difficult. Brother Keedy out in L.A. owned up Lib Radio. I went out there, spent a week, did book signings, and was in his studio, Lib Radio, and you know, he showed me how everything worked. So ultimately, what I said then, I still say now, that Harambee has been the easiest thing I've ever done. So if that is not motivating for y'all, nothing is. That it's the easiest thing I've done. You know, for years, white doctors in this whole metro area paid me $100 an hour. That's what I was making in the 80s, $100 an hour. I made that in any fraction thereof. So if you invited me to your office, that's what you paid. I showed Sister Q today, you know, because when you got out of town people in town and you in your own city, I was able to tell her some of the people that I hung out with, some of the white folks, still have their businesses in Wheaton, down in Lanham. You know, I'm riding past telling, this is Sterling Dental Center, which has been, you can go to the Yellow Pages right now. They got like 7 locations. I left those white boys behind. I left them behind. They are still working 6 days a week. I have walked away from that and moved on. I know I was smarter than them. That's why I made them pay me $100 an hour anytime they wanted to talk to me. So my daughter that did book signings with me in the early years, and my son Jay, you know, I'm very proud that they saw me kicking ass. And my daughter is making, and this is no lie, I want y'all to hear this out. She watched her dad make $100 an hour. She was my bookkeeper when she was in high school here in town, Langley Park, wherever she was my bookkeeper. My son was my right hand. He helped me write the book. And in the meantime, this daughter used to go with me and watch extractions in the mouth, root canals, you name it, she saw it. When she got tired of watching her daddy's success in this town, she came to me and said, Daddy, you know I love you, and everybody, all these white people in this whole metro area know you. They know how precise and accurate you've been about your work. You know about what I've always said, pyramid. I come from pyramid makers. I never did anything vaguely. When Senghor and everybody teased me about how on time I am, I was like that about my work. You can go back and chart me over 30 years about how many things came out of my studio not on time or not done correctly. You know how many lawsuits I had? A black man in this town breaking news and work. I had no lawsuits, ever, about the quality of my work, about my family's work, about my son, about my daughter. Not one lawsuit about not just the quality of my work, but cheating anybody. You know, we have brothers around the country right now that are being scrutinized by everybody because of how, what do I want to say, illegal they've been and not keeping their promises. I beg anybody, if you have anything that you saw me not doing right, and my son and daughter watched that. So I taught them how to weigh gold up, yellow gold. When people needed a gold crown, a gold filling, you got to weigh that up to know what the cost is. My son and daughter saw me never putting my finger on the scale when I didn't have any bosses to tell me to lean on it or not lean on it. They were taught, do the work right, the money will come by itself. So this many years later, my daughter, the same girl that I used to carry around for $100 an hour, has a business called Dental Tech, or something with the word dental in it. And my friends that I came along with, and you know, when they graduated from Duke and these colleges that have these 5 and 6 locations around the metro area, do you know they still call me up, and do you know what they still ask me? Can you please talk your daughter into coming to my office? I need her at $300 an hour. Whoa. Did you hear what I said? I'll be honest. I dropped out in the 7th grade, and I still struggle with trying to figure out what the hell $300 an hour is. I know when I hit $300 an hour what the 300 means, but per hour over X amount of weeks, X amount of this and X, that's a lot of goddamn money. So I've already raised a daughter that has worked for me since she was that tall. And those doctors that used to see me bringing her into their office, and this daughter of mine could sit there and watch an extraction with blood everywhere and not blink. So when she came back to me in these later years, because she started taking my latest daughter, who is now 12, she kind of got into her life because she wanted Miss Amira, who y'all may know as the Black Learning Channel's person. Miss Amira was educated by my older daughter about the quality of life, and it meant that, girl, you know, you start talking about $300 an hour. You know, in other words, she know that Harambee ain't gonna hold Miss Amira. And Black Learning Channel's not gonna hold Miss Amira, not when Amira gonna be trying to make $300 an hour. We love her, right? But we can't be writing out no checks for that Saturday morning program, $300 an hour. But so the bottom line is, Miss Amira, my youngest daughter, had a chance to hang out with her big sister. Came back from Florida and said, "Daddy, do you know that daughter of yours got too much money? She's got a condo on the beach down in Miami, and she paid for everybody's airline tickets and the whole deal. Bought me everything, bought everybody in her family's tickets on planes." See, that's when you're having an impact, when you do that early work, make all that money, expose her to it, and then her reward to me, because there are people that have asked me, well, damn, if Devon is making $300 an hour and it's got 4 or 5 times people working for her, what does she ever do for you? I says, no, I have never asked her for a penny. I have never gone back and said, well, you know, I'm big man on campus. No, because I already understand she's going to pay me back by letting my 12-year-old daughter see her in rare form. So I had to wait for Amira to get 11 years old. No, I take that back. She was 10 when all my children went together somewhere without me. But when Amira came back from that airplane ride, she said, that sister of mine got it going on. And she said to me, why didn't you tell me about this? I said, daughter, I had to wait for you to get old enough to understand. You know, $300 an hour, you got to break that down. So I was thankful that y'all didn't know me when I was making $100 an hour, because y'all asses would have been on the phone trying to borrow some money from me. So I didn't hang out with no black guys. All my friends were white, all over the area. I come to town now, I'm hanging out with Sister Q, I don't even stop. I just point to places where I used to hang out with white guys making a lot of money.
We can continue to talk after.
Okay.
We're going to wrap here because of the time, what's the name? So we ain't going nowhere. But I'm going to close out with this. All right. Just a little story. Just to demonstrate a little blacktricity, y'all. Yeah.